Everybody, welcome to AI for Brands and Businesses. I am so excited to share this with you today. This has been a three-part series. We had last week market research and analysis. We did everything from SWOT analysis of our own company to also comparison with other companies, as well as starting to get into what we're going to get more into today, which is looking at how we can grow our business, increase offerings, and come up with some fun things like that. So first of all, just briefly, just overview of what we're going to cover. We already had a little bit of introductions and some questions that hopefully we're going to get to. We are going to have some time for Q&A at the end too. An intro to who I am, for those of you who don't know me. Some fun news from the frontiers of AI. I always love to throw at the beginning of my workshops. An introduction into custom GPTs and the new ChatGPT app store that was announced this week. And then an exploration of using brand bots for your business, which is an extension of GPTs, and that's custom GPTs. And that's why we're going to start with that. So first, who am I? My name is Douglas Campbell. For years, I ran an event series in Los Angeles that some of you might know me from called Mindshare LA. Thousands of attendees, tens of thousands over the 10 years almost, hundreds of speakers, almost 200 events. It was so great, great for business, great for friendships, even great for romance. I ended up officiating actually five marriages of people that met there. During COVID, I sort of took a pause from live events, understandably, and started a digital media agency when I was living in Southern Oregon at the time. Everything from logo to launch and beyond for small businesses and entrepreneurs. I've written two books. One was a passion project about me moving to a wilderness community and learning carpentry. And it was really exciting and understanding community property models and things like that. And the other, which I'm going to get into a little bit more in a second because it launched me into my understanding and explorations into AI, was Free to Roam, which was a digital nomad's guide for the post-COVID remote worker. I'll talk more about that in a second. And back in the day, I thought just to throw this in for fun, I always do this because this is something I don't talk about much, but it was a charity stunt that me and an English friend of mine did for 6 months in 2007, right at the beginning of Facebook. And we went halfway around the world for 6 months in a tuxedo for charity. And we gave all the money that we got donated to the local organizations and communities we came into contact with. So we were even on CNN and in Ripley's Believe It or Not with a 2-page spread, which is pretty, the 2008 version, if you ever find it. Okay, but let me just talk about this book for a second, because this was really where my love for AI and this, like, seeing how creatively it can be used as a collaborative tool. So my author alter ego is Dougie Lux, and often he gets up to things that Douglas Campbell would never admit to doing, and which is great. My mom loves that distinction because she can talk to her friends about Douglas Campbell, and Dougie Lux is my container for all the mischief. But in this case, this was really just a guidebook, and I learned how to write this with collaboration with AI by outlining the structure and then watching as I was able to infuse my personal stories, really giving it a human touch and breathing life into it. And within 30 days, it was on Amazon with great reviews, even a top seller briefly in the travel tips category. And I even cloned my voice with AI and it narrated the book, and it did a pretty great job. Way better than a lot of authors who have no business narrating their books. So that was my introduction into AI. So let's dive in here. And as I said, I'm going to start by sharing this. Actually, what I'm going to do is stop sharing for a second, start sharing, and just share that one window, which is right here. Okay, great. All right, so everyone can still see, hopefully. So, all right, first of all, let's start actually with this one. This makes more sense. A little just touching base on where we're at right now with copywriting. And so if you don't know, recently OpenAI has been sued by the New York Times for scraping its articles. And it's kind of a time, this is a different topic I'll get into in a second, but it's an interesting time because the free-for-all is maybe coming to a close, and now OpenAI is preparing to start paying content creators to scrape their data. So that's going to be very interesting to see where that happens. It's, in my mind, it's kind of like how Napster was for MP3s, if you remember it. It was a free-for-all, and then the market had to regulate. And then a week later, the same thing is now, in conversations around Midjourney, which is the imagery creation tool, which has scraped 16,000 artists, including, which I thought was so funny, a 6-year-old child. Oh, heavens forbid, all the other artists, it's sad enough, but this 6-year-old, just when their career is getting started, I thought was really funny. But jokes aside, what's this going to mean? And the courts have yet to decide on what's this going to mean. Is it fair that it was, scraped from the internet? It was in the public domain. and it's not recreating the exact thing. So it's still an iteration, much like someone who might study a master or another artist would then recreate work. It's not obviously an infringement. However, the speed at which AI can process this is and create it is what's a bit concerning to a lot of artists and their livelihood. So it's definitely a live conversation, and there's some solutions that are definitely going to be coming in the coming months and years. So that said, but for now, there's still a lot of time to play. And I thought this was a great video to start on. This is taking a static image, and by capturing someone's motion, you can turn a static image into motion. So this is with the Mona Lisa taken from this image. Not only does it turn it into motion, but it also even imagines a bigger background for it to move in. So you see it's even being able to dance outside of its typical frame and create some additional things. So this is fun, but where it starts to get interesting is, for example, sales videos, or like even actual products perhaps being created. You can imagine there's lots of fun to be had with that. All right. We're also going to start to see a lot this year. And I share a lot of this on my LinkedIn, by the way. I'm Douglas Campbell on LinkedIn, and I'll send the links after this to socials and things that we cover today. But you're going to start to see a lot more in terms of AI meets robotics. And so what I mean by that is, for a long time, we've had great physical technology tools and engineering, but we haven't had the opportunity to teach this is ridiculous, the shaving. I don't know if we would want ourselves to be shaved by robots just yet, especially not with a straight razor. But regardless, we're going to start to now see a massive advance in robotics, which have been working for a long time on their actual engineering physical, but haven't been able to train them as easily. And now they're being able to train them by watching humans. They're being able to train them even by the robots themselves, thinking about their motions before they even make a motion, much like a Japanese calligrapher or something like that. They think about the stroke 95% of the time, and then just 5% is the making of the stroke. So we're going to start to see some huge increasing progress in the realm of robotics. Tesla had a huge announcement about their new robot cyborg called Optimus. So you can check out that on Tesla's website, or just search Tesla Optimus robot and you can find it. Not sure we're all ready for having robots in our homes, but hey, here it's happening, and so we're gonna see what happens as we go with that. I'm gonna close these as I finish them. And to that point, Google, ever the benevolent corporation, or at least it likes to pose itself as one, has written a robot constitution based off of inspired by Isaac Asimov's Three Laws of Robotics, which was a pretty profound book when it was written a long time ago. And it's nice to see that actually a big company that's producing some of these things is really looking at this stuff, because a lot of us love how AI and technology in general is progressing. But as we know, sometimes when there's no checks and balances, things can go a little bit awry. And so at least this is nice that there's an intention going with a robot constitution. Actually, I had a friend who was a roboticist, and she was head of the robotic census bureau, which was somewhat of a humorous thing back then, but maybe we will have to have a robotic consensus in the future. Something interesting to think about. A couple of final things is I have launched a podcast with my best buddy Helix. It's called the Intelligence AI Report, and you can find it at theintelligenceai.com. And we're on all the socials too. And we've got our first 2 episodes up, and they're pre-launch episodes. We're just testing our technology, and we're getting ready to have guests on in the maybe February, end of the month, or maybe February. So, and then we've got lots of fun little shorts that are taken from the podcast and some other fun things that you can check out. Okay, so last piece of news before we jump into things is I want to talk about OpenAI's GPT store. Now, this was just announced this week. Well, it was really announced a couple of months ago, but they weren't ready to launch it. This was launched this week. Now, what's a GPT? So as you know, ChatGPT is what we're all used to hearing about. Well, custom GPTs are something that OpenAI started offering through ChatGPT about 2 months ago. And it allows people to create apps on top of ChatGPT. So if you think about it, ChatGPT is almost like the operating system. And I'm going to show you how to do this today, at least give you a basic overview. is then you can build your own app on top of ChatGPT with your own instructions and information and knowledge. And by that, I mean files, could be spreadsheets, could be text documents, Word documents, PDFs, and a whole lot more. Okay, and so that was announced a couple of months ago. And the big announcement today, or this week, is now they've opened up their store, and I'll show you what it's going to look like. But basically, it's going to have the ability for creators of these things to make money back from their creations. And right now, I believe it's going to be a revenue share model. So if 1,000 people are using your tool, you get a little kickback from their subscription, because this is a plus GPT plus $20 a month feature that lets you access and lets you create these custom GPTs. And so I really recommend everybody giving this a shot, signing it up for a month, seeing how it feels, and then canceling if you don't like it. But if there's a lot of use to it, it's created so much utility in my work and life and business. And I'm going to show you how I'm doing some of that. And so you can go get a plus account for $20 a month, because it's going to be so popular that they might have to actually put them on pause again for a while. They had to put them on pause for like a month or a month or two, so since that last announcement, it got so much, attention. All right, so that brings us into ChatGPT. Now, I am using the paid version, like I say, plus, and now they even have a cool team plan, I guess, where you can share chats if you're collaborating on something. That's going to be great if you're building a business tool, which we're going to get into a little bit. And the reason I'm going to share some of this stuff is I want to let you know what's possible. And these are all ones that I've created. For example, the optimism bot. Well, I can just show you that this was a Spanish bot I made with a friend by uploading an Excel spreadsheet of my vocabulary I wanted to learn. And I could even talk to it using the little talking voice app. When you're on the app on your phone, you can talk to ChatGPT and it can literally test you in Spanish. This one was an optimism bot. This was my first test that I actually did, where you can talk to it about your problems, whether you're upset or stressed or any of that kind of thing right now. And it can give you solutions, but you can also talk to it about big world issues, and it can tell you about where there's solutions and even connect you with organizations locally or globally that are working on solutions to problems. For example, the homelessness in Venice, or for example, maybe food inequality and such things. And so you can actually just stop feeling bad or annoying your friends and family with all your whining, and maybe get involved in solutions if that's something that you want to be involved in, or at least work on your own psychology, which I thought was nice. And I'll send the link to this afterwards because it's
Can
fun.
you quickly just say what data you fed it?
This was literally just instructions. If I can show you briefly.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's a great question, Malta. And I know you're on my cohort next coming up in a week or two, so I'm going to be sharing a lot more of this. Now
Oh yeah.
here, on my GPTs, I'll just show you the optimism bot because it's one of the simplest. Some of these are a little bit more advanced. Um, it literally is this. You go into it, and the simplest way you can configure this all with text, and it even makes an icon for you. I'm sorry, all with chatting with it. However, as soon as you get more advanced, and some of the tools that I build use the configure tool, and you can really customize the instructions here. And then knowledge base, and then some other custom actions gets really advanced. That's when you can integrate with other apps and APIs. But this was basically just telling it how I wanted it to respond. If people ask it certain questions, I wanted it to create insightful responses, ask more questions, find places where there's solutions, and offer organizations and things like that. So that was all just text-based. So I'll give you an example before I show you some of the ones that they're offering. Dougie Luxbot is an author of my alter ego. So now you had an introduction to Dougie Lux. And so this was, I upload similarly instructions saying how I wanted it to interact, but also I uploaded the manuscript. So you can talk to Dougie Luxbot, who will reply in his tone of voice and talk to you about his books and his travels and adventures, and give you insights on digital nomadism or shared property models, things like that. Some of my experimental, explorative times of my life. So it's kind of a cool idea. You can imagine any book in the future could come with its own chat bot that accompanies the book. All right, so those are a couple of my,
Dougie, just a question. Do they
yeah,
give you statistics on how many people are using your
yeah, yeah. On the back end, you can look at that, how many people are using it. So on that note, I wanted to show you a little bit how people are, and I think they keep that private for just you, the creator, because you can create, whenever you create one, you can create it a link just for yourself. I'm sorry, for just for yourself, a link for others privately, or a link to share it in the public store. And I think then it's going to pass some check. And then and then that'll be added. But they've got some featured ones that they're picking, ChatGPT is picking, trending one, what's popular. And some of these I know are getting tens of thousands of uses. Like this one's a coding wizard. This was one of the earliest and most popular. It's just taken off massively. But I mean, look at this. There's 22,000. There's already 3 million custom GPTs, and this is the best ones apparently, the top 23,000 ones. So these are custom GPTs by ChatGPT themselves, so they're going to be really well built. And then there's other ones, like for example, these productivity ones. You can read PDFs, you can program, like I said, education, lifestyle. There's also even things like Canva that you can start to build designs in GPT and then open it up directly into Canva, which is pretty amazing. All right, so what I'm going to show you next, and what I'm going to be focused on pretty much the next rest of the workshop until we get into some questions at the end, is what I've used and what I'm going to use for this workshop is the Project Fresh Brand Bot. Now, this is a brand bot custom GPT that I have created with instructions and a whole bunch of knowledge files that are kind of tailored in a particular way that I worked on the last couple of months to build. I'm really excited about it, and it really makes a lot of streamlining business things easy. So what do I mean by that? Well, for example, anytime you go into a chat GPT, you are fresh, it's a fresh chat, unless you do some of your custom instructions over here, but it's a little bit bulky, especially if you want to go back from regular to a particular but you can do a lot of training right here. So before you even start asking it questions, you can be like, hey, I'm going to feed you what my offerings are, or I can feed you the tone that I want you to use, and now write me a blog post, all that kind of stuff. You can do it here. ChatGPT 4 is better than 3.5, which is the free one. That's why I get the paid one. It's a lot better for reasoning and writing. Okay, but why the Project Fresh Brand Bot is cool is I click on a new chat, it already knows everything about my business. So I can say, what is your writing tone? It even can correct my spelling. And so now it's going to look into its knowledge, and it takes sometimes a little bit of time right off the bat, but it knows me already. So right now I can say, let's start writing. And it even gives me some cool follow-up prompts to use, which is really neat. Okay, so I can also say, who is my target audience? All right. And so why is that important? Well, anything that we do as a business, we want to consider our target audience, whether that's creating content, whether that's exploring new offerings, whether that's creating sales pages or email drip campaigns, which are the ones that go out every week. I'm sure you signed up for it. Everything wants you for your business, as you know, as business owners, you want it to consider your target audience, right? And so this already knows my tone, my target audience, right? And so even it talks about their problems a little bit. I could ask it to even flesh out their problems more and really get clear on my target audience. So if any of you have done marketing work before, you know targeting a very specific target niche audience is crucial. It's also known as your personal, or avatar, I often call it, or persona, is really understanding those people that you're appealing to. So I can also say I've loaded this brand bot with list my current offerings. Okay. So why is this important? Well, this is really cool because I can actually, it can look at my target audience and my current offerings and see how I might be able to refine those. So a few things that I offer: consulting calls and reports. Like, for example, if any of you ever want to go really deep on any of this stuff, I do one-on-one hour sessions, or block sessions, and I really help my clients understand the landscape of AI, not just ChatGPT, but I have a really good macro lens on all sorts of content creation and tools that simplify life, make you more creative and more efficient. And so I also offer a few other things, like some courses. I also help, I know Jim's on here, I helped him create a course platform, establishing himself as a thought leader in the space. So I'm happy to hear that's going so well, Jim. And I also have some courses. So AI for entrepreneurs and thought leaders. It helps you really nail your social media and all that stuff, outward facing stuff. AI for coaches and course instructors, which helps you validate courses before you've actually done the work to make the course, which is really helpful. Like I wrote my book with nonfiction, I have a course for AI nonfiction writers and another AI for brands and businesses course, which I'll tell you more about later too, because it's exciting. It's about building these custom GPTs. And then I also offer and create custom AI tools. So this is so neat. I can now look at those and I could say like, yeah, sure. It give me some follow-up prompts. So I programmed this in to the custom GPT because this, as you ask it questions, sometimes you get lost in like, okay, well, what do I do next? It's just this open chat box. So this is cool. I can say, yeah, let's explore number 1. And let's see what it says. Sometimes this happens. It's just because I think ChatGPT is getting overloaded, but they've now added a handy regenerate button, and that usually works a second time. So, okay, what's this doing? What is this doing? It's going and it's now looking at all my business information from my current offerings, my target audience, also my skills. So I haven't even shown you that, but it completely knows my history and all of my skills that I've learned. So I've run events, I've run marketing campaigns, I've built entire digital tools and websites and things like that. It also knows my current offerings. And so it's combining all that data to look at where my gaps are. So some of this stuff is going to be more relevant to me than others. Business analysis, I do a little bit of that, but nothing explicitly right now in my offerings list. Virtual AI strategy workshops, that's really interesting. That's almost a bit what I'm doing today, right? Content audits, that could be cool because it knows I have a marketing background. So it's looking at my combination of AI experience and marketing and seeing that I am not currently providing much on that intersection, which is really fascinating. AI and creativity coaching sessions, etc. Right? So all of these things. So now it'll be up to me to say something like, let me see if I'm on track for what I want to talk about. There's a couple other things that I skipped over because I got so excited about going into this, but I can always come back to those later because they're a little bit off topic anyways. They're kind of more bonus things. So one of these first ones was pretty interesting for me. Virtual AI strategy workshops. This sounds really fascinating to me because I'm really loving doing these workshops with you all, but I haven't really formally created this as kind of a business offering. Right now, it's just freebies. And, like I want to see if people enjoy this or if we want to get into more of that. So that's currently, if like more of that into a regular way and how we might really be able to dig into business applications. So what I can say now is, let's see, of these two, this one offering a service or business get insight. You know what? I think I want to go with number 3. So now what I can say is, let's explore number 3 further. And what that offering might look like. Okay, so what now I'm just doing, this is again, a little bit of business research. I'm thinking about, what I could do in this space. And right now we haven't even started comparative analysis with other companies that might be offering this, okay? So now it's immediately starting to flesh out what this offering could look like. This is just the first draft. I could then take this to a decision maker or take it into a Google Doc and refine it more. But this is kind of putting it together in terms of a workshop. Each workshop could range from 2 to 3 hours, possibly divided into multiple sections. Okay, and so it's got this various curriculum outline, post-workshop resources, pricing structure. This is all pretty cool. I was maybe thinking it would be less of a workshop series. Perhaps I was thinking it would be more of a weekly. How about this? How about I could say this? Okay, looks good, but can we turn this into I don't know, how about 8-week, weekly 1 hour, Zoom workshop and series. I'll just say series. Let's see how it does with just that. Sometimes I like to add more things like breaking it down into modules and lessons and but I'm just going to I'm going to try to let it reason. And this is where ChatGPT 4 is great. It can kind of read between the lines. And hopefully now it's going to look at that and transform it into something a little bit more that I was looking for. Okay. And Bill, if you're muted, if you're not muted, if you could mute, that'd be great because we can hear you in the background. All right. So look at this. This is cool. This has completely reformatted it into a Bill, I can hear you in the background there. Mute
Oh,
yourself.
sorry.
It's okay. Everyone else, mute yourself to take Bill's lead on that one. Sometimes our dog comes in or our lovable spouse, and so it can be hard. Okay, so getting back to it here is we have a let's see, a 10-week, or I said 8-week workshop. And so now it's started to put this into something a little bit more that I wanted to do. And at any point there, I could actually begin to flesh some of these things out or change these sections or whatnot. So let me see which one I want to go with. I feel like this one was a little bit more. So this one was more of like a virtual AI strategy where, and this is a little bit more valuable in some ways than maybe this could be, at least in this current way. This is just going to be, I want to maybe just go with this first one and flesh this out just as an example, because I think it has a little bit more meat on the bones. And, I have limited time, so I don't want to get too much into this one. Felt a little bit more ready to go, such that I could now, and this a lot of people don't know, at any point you can go back to a previous prompt and press this little pencil. And what it does is it creates a branch. So now I'm going to say, I don't want to actually go this direction that I just went. I want to instead say, looks great. It doesn't, but it looks great for now. I would take it out, probably put it back in, copy and paste the latest one, the final one back in, and then say what I'm about to say. But now I'm just going to use this and say, looks great. Can you turn that into a sales page? Okay. And now we're going to save that. And so now you can see that it's created this little number. And I can at any point go back. I don't want to do it while it's processing, but I can go back. I'll show you in a second. And then that goes back to that other branch in case I want to go back to a previous branch of prompts. It's kind of cool. Not a lot of people know that. All right, so look, it's creating a sales page with a nice title, a little subtitle about the workshop. Um, you know, whether you're an entrepreneur, small business owner, or business professional, these workshops are your gateway. So it knows my target audience. This is going to talk about what they're going to learn. It may or may not talk about their real struggles. In this case, it's shown the offering. So that's cool. But if you know marketing, you want to really appeal often to people's struggles. It's great that you're offering a whole lot of stuff. So that's the kind of thing that I might say, like, what are my target audience? In fact, I could say it, even get it ready for this. What is the target audience for this proposed offerings? I'm going to say, what are the visceral, my gosh, visceral, emotional, sort of challenges or like worries.
Pain points, right?
Pain points. Thanks, Malta. That was what I was looking for. Of the target audience for that this proposed offering addresses. It's teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. Okay, so and it's got all these follow-up prompts. So let's just look at them. Maybe it's even one of the, would you like assistance in creating visuals? It's super cool. You can now do visuals in here. Do you need help setting up the registration and payment system for this workshop? Is there specific content you'd like to add or modify on this sales page? So yeah, that's going to be number 3. I want to maybe at least look at this to understand my audience more. Okay, and so this can be really useful for integrating some of this into like the introduction, say. All right, so they feel overwhelmed, confusion, falling behind, frustration with inefficiencies, uncertainty in decision making, doubt in personal ability, and such not. So I'm going to get my next prompt ready. Okay, great. And I weave some of the core worries or concerns, pain points, into the introduction. So now hopefully I just made that really like, I could go up there and copy and paste the introduction, but let's see if it does it. Usually it's pretty good at this kind of thing. So, okay, this should just be a short paragraph, and it's going to maybe be a little bit more emotionally engaging. So let's see. So it already put some in here, which is cool. All right, and so it's immediately making this sales page a little bit more interesting and addressing those concerns. Another one I always like to show is also, let's come up with a series of FAQs for this sales page. And if any of you have done sales pages or landing pages before, you know FAQs are always a pain that address general questions as well as the target audience's pain points. Okay. So let's take a look. It might have hung up here. Hopefully it didn't. Okay, there we go. Sometimes it just gets a little overwhelmed. So it actually looks like it's rewriting the entire sales page, which isn't what I quite expected. But hey, it might be better. So it's good to, it looks already a little bit more wordy. So what I might do is if the rest of this sales page looked really good, then I might, instead of just asking it to rewrite the intro, I might go up here and copy and paste this intro, and just get like it to rewrite that. That's why I kind of like copying this entire thing, which you can do like that, or you can actually do by copying it here and then copy it over to a Google document and work on it section by section and just refine as needed. Okay, so this is interesting. Would I like to add testimonials now or success stories? So obviously it doesn't know. I haven't uploaded actually, that's a great thing. I should upload testimonials and success stories. I'm going to make a note of that. Wow, I hadn't even thought of that. Thank you, ChatGPT. I'm going to say testimonials on BrandBot. That's a great idea. So then it can weave my testimonials into these things already. Are there interactive elements? Like, yes, Q&A sessions. How can we integrate? Okay, other things. But actually, I want to just do this FAQs because this is always a pain. So let's come up with a series of FAQs for the sales page that address general questions as well as the target audience's pain points. Okay, and again, this is all the first version of things. So it's going to give us something to work with, and then we can always edit it from there. But it's always nice that. And sometimes when it hangs like this, okay, no, it's doing pretty good today. Once in a while on a workshop, actually, oh man, once I hit my limit, because you're only allowed 40 chats per few hours, and I had done a bunch of ChatGPT work in the morning, and I really learned my lesson when half the way through my live workshop, I hit my limit. Anyways, this is at least continuing to move along. So we've looked at the offerings, and we have found a gap, and we've explored that gap. And then we've created a sales page for that gap. We've even got a bunch of FAQs. How exciting. Now, this might be a $100 course. This could be a multi-$1,000 consulting offering. Whatever the pricing is, people aren't always ready to buy. So that's where something like a lead magnet can come in. What's a lead magnet? Well, you've all done it 1,000 times if you're like me. And that's when you give your email in exchange for something. It could be a PDF, it could be a video, it could be even booking a time to make a appointment with somebody. I mean, there's a whole lot of things. But the reason I say that is because coming up with them sometimes can be problematic. You don't quite know how it, or you use an old one that's not quite relevant. So a prompt that you can use here is something like this. I want you to create no, that's not the one. We can do that afterwards because the lead magnet would lead into that. I'm copying and pasting it to save a little time. Give me some examples of useful lead magnets to help capture visitor emails on this sales page. So yeah, I'm loving these follow-up prompts. Some of them are really providing interesting things to help me understand more deeply how I could make this better. That was a recent addition to my BrandBot design, which I'm excited about. So give me some examples of useful lead magnets. So this is going to now show us, based off of the target audience and this sales page for this offering, what might be a nice little piece, because a lead magnet's meant to get you like 10% of the way towards the solution. It's meant to be short, attainable, leave people feeling like they got some great value and they want to maintain and stay in touch. So it's going to be, an AI for business ebook. And like I said, you can knock out ebooks so quickly these days, especially if you're not even trying to get it on Amazon, but even on Amazon's not so hard these days. Just to create a simple PDF, it's so simple. AI tools checklist, that could be interesting, like the most critical tools that I think about for business. I've got a handful. That's a great idea. Actually, I'm gonna write that down as a lead magnet. It's so funny when I'm on my own workshop and it's giving me ideas for my own things. It's a real validation, I think, that this is valuable stuff process to go through. So, okay, so some other cool stuff, strategy templates, case studies, exclusive webinar access. Like this was a lead magnet, actually, by the way. I want to talk to you about my courses and things like that. So I gave you free access to this thing that I hope is valuable, regardless of if anybody signs up. So, so that already is a lead magnet that I have. I haven't actually put my lead magnets on the brand bot, so that could be another cool thing to add. You could add so much to it. And this brand bot, as from my experience, is just always evolving, and that's what's really exciting. I'm going to be teaching people how to build these. And so they're always evolving, right? Okay, cool. So check it out. Like, say we want to go with, I think like say we go with the webinar access. And I haven't done this, but whatever we go with, I'm not going to get into it. We could actually build this out more, but I don't think we really need to. I think you get the point. You could now come in here and be like, okay, design me a cool page for my webinar, or give me a checklist of top AI tools for business. You can actually use chat to further flesh out your lead magnet. Instead, I'm just going to say, like, pretend you've done that. So I'm going to say, okay, I want you to now create a 3-email automated drip campaign designed to deliver value, but also promote the offering once people have signed up for the lead magnet. So, okay, they're not ready to buy yet, but they've given you their email. They've got a little piece of value. They got an automated email. And actually, let's just do that for now. Okay, so again, like the FAQs, lead magnet and drip campaigns are pains to do. So especially drip campaigns, especially if you want to do 10. And if you want to do a weekly email for the next 10 weeks, that's a pain in the butt. So this right immediately will say, okay, welcome, here's the ebook. I didn't mention the lead magnet I was going to use, so it just chose one. And it's going to give a little intro. Here's the thing, very short and sweet. And then it'll no doubt give me, a link to then the course that I teach, or the workshop that I'm offering, whatever that new offering is, right? Okay, cool. So that is email 2. It's going to do that. While that happens, I'm going to look at, okay, cool. There's 1 or 2 others that I want to do before we get into a couple of things. So, okay, we've really explored now some ways to look at your product and service offerings. We've even started getting into the content, which we're going to get into more next week as well. Same time next week at noon. But at this point, we could also say things like, I want to actually just stop it here because I think you get the idea. I'm going to go back up to here, and I'm going to do another one. I could say, create a short video script outlining this offering's sales outline for the offering sales page. So this is going to give me some ideas with which I could work with. And now, if you don't like being on video, don't even worry about it. You can create an avatar of yourself so easily now, even from a static image that clones your voice. So you don't even have to worry. Get yourself looking sharp, take a photo, and then it's going to produce your avatar for your video. And for those of you like Jim, who I know have memorized minutes of video scripts, then that could be a nice upgrade. So here it goes, a nice little scene of these videos, which is cool. All right, so now getting into finally a little bit more content stuff, let's play with the imagery of, and I'm going to take maybe a few more minutes on all of this, and then I'm going to finish up my presentation and leave some time for Q&A. But I do want to show you some cool final prompts that are really neat. So you get the idea here. Again, I'm going to stop it, and I'm going to go back up here and say now, create a 16:9 image that uses my brand colors. It already knows my brand. You must not include any text in the image. And we can also say things here stylistically, and this is not an image workshop. This is gonna be a whole nother conversation for that post, using my brand colors. And we could say it like a simple, illustrative image for that post using my brand colors. So this could be just an experiment. You can come up with, you can do research on how to interact with image creators and really start to learn about tons of different, you can do this. This is a whole course in itself. It's super cool stuff. So it's going to do that while I look at what other little things that I want to cover. Okay, cool. That would be a good one. All right. And that one too. So uh, next, after this image is created, I'm going to say, write a LinkedIn post that gives an opinion on the current trend associated with the offering while tactfully promoting it. So this image is okay. I don't love it. I might want to do another one that's maybe more abstract or, more real, photorealistic. Like maybe we just play with one because it's so fun to do. Simple photo. Let's see what photo realistic image for that post featuring a businesswoman and her team. I don't know. Let's just see what happens. I don't often use photorealistic, so it's kind of fun. All right, let's see. Okay, and so the next thing we're going to do after this image is created is write a LinkedIn post that gives an opinion on the current trend associated with the offering. Actually, you know what might be cool is to the current trend in associated with the offering while tactfully promoting it. Let's just do that because we could get into finding news articles, whether through here or through, and I can show you in a second while we have a few more minutes. You can actually search news right in here because it's integrated. The paid version is integrated with Google Bit or so Microsoft Bing. And so this might be better. It's got some purple and beige. It's still cool. It's like got my brand colors into it, which was pretty neat, right? Okay, so now I got my image. I would download that, but for now I'm just going to go back here and say write a LinkedIn post that gives an opinion. Da, 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 da. Great. So here we go. It's going to now know what the offering is, have an opinion on it in some way, hopefully, and then offer some sort of value in terms of a link to this sales page. So that's what this LinkedIn post would be showing. And we could use that image. So we could use that image for our blog, for the offering, even for this post. So there it goes. All right. And so a couple of things that I didn't really touch on today too. One thing I would like to show, because it is a bit product related, is I've got a friend called, well, he runs something called the AI Creative Academy. Okay. So I want to show you what's possible here with the brand bot too. So this has all been quite internal, but I can also, oh, and by the way, here's our nice article. And we could, in recent years, we've seen an unprecedented surge of adoption. So some of this might be a little bit general. So we might want to actually go and get a news article about the latest information about our offering and weave that in. So we could copy and paste it in and be like, hey, let's summarize this article. Let's then weave in my new offering as it relates to that news article. So it's a little less salesy, right? And then it has some interesting things here. So, but what I'm going to say is, whoops, not that. Here we go. Hold on. Sometimes my Zoom bar is in the way. Okay. So now I can say, let's compare my offerings with my buddy's organization. Okay. Now, I just wanted to show you because we've done a lot of the brand bot stuff has been internal right now, stuff that it's programmed with, but there's a whole bunch of ways of doing research and analysis. This is a little bit what we got into last week, where it actually then it already knows everything about my company. So it's going to go over and crawl my buddy's company and completely explore it and start to see where there's like overlap as well as gap analysis, maybe things that they're offering that I might want to offer, or I might want to partner with the Creative AI Academy to be like, hey, if I get work for this, would you like it? I'll pass it to you. And if you get work for this, why don't you pass it back my way, right? Which is really, so it's going to go through my offerings and then it's going to hopefully research their offerings. Other things that you can do, which take a little bit more time, so I don't really want to get into too much today, is I could say, find recent news articles related to this offering and it'll use Bing again to go research latest news articles that right from there. So instead of having to go for the LinkedIn thing and just go copy and paste something in, I could be like, hey, go find the latest news on businesses integrating AI into their business. And it'll give me 5 examples of recent news. And then I could be like, weave that news article, get an opinion on that news article, my thoughts on it, a summary of it, and then weave in my offering, right? So that's even more awesome. But it takes a little time for Bing to search. So I don't want to get into that today. Cool. So look at this. It's done the creative AI offerings. And it's very much true. Like they actually do some very specialized courses and generative AI keynotes and very much patented design experience. So this is then gives a little bit of our a review of the sort of overview of like, you know, what we offer. Cool. And then the last thing I will do, just because it's really neat, and then we're going to get into things, is use my weekly content posting schedule, and we're going to get into this more next week, to generate a week's worth of content marketing inspiration themed around the offering. Well, guess what, guys? It knows my entire posting schedule for my week, everything, every platform that I post on. And so it will give me quick ideas for my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You know, I like to do a Monday LinkedIn post and a couple of other things. And then it will give me at least a starting point of what to explore. And at any point, I can then, you know, kind of further flesh this out, like a video for YouTube on Tuesday, you know, another 5-minute video on YouTube. If I had a podcast, a weekly podcast, then this could integrate a whole, I could then even say, give me the hour-long outline for the podcast, or at least a draft to get me started. And it can even give you time breakdowns of how much to spend on each thing, right? So, okay. And that you might not have all these things like Instagram or whatnot. You just put in whatever your particular things are. All right. So on that note, I'm going to stop that and start this, finish my presentation, and then we're going to open it up to a quick Q&A at the end. So, all right. So first of all, my existing courses that I mentioned, and these are all 20% off. And Ed, you can save your question for the end. I see you as being first. You're going to be first up. AI for coaches and course instructors. Validate your idea before you've actually done the work and get paid before you actually do the work, which is great. AI for entrepreneurs and thought leaders, which is really a lot of that social work and the outlining of like how to build your thought leadership platform. I get in a little bit to like how to then create presentation decks and some of that stuff too. I'd like to flesh that part out even more because the AI is developing so quickly. But this is great to build a corpus of your knowledge, whether for you or your marketing team, to have unlimited information to share with the world. And then the AI for nonfiction writers is actually my most popular course because it really does. It will get you a book from zero content to a perfectly edited book, unique to you and your stories and experience, within 30 days or less. I mean, 30 days if you're working like a few evenings a week and a couple weekends, you know. And then I'm super excited to announce this, especially because of OpenAI's announcement this week and how much of a big deal these custom GPTs are. I'm announcing a new course which starts next week, and it's going to help understand the foundations of chatbot assistants, these custom GPTs. I'm going to help you understand how to build simple things from like the optimism bot all the way to complex things like a brand bot. And that's going to be then the meat of the course, is building your own brand bot. So there's going to be the do it for me model, because some of my people just, they know like, this is great, I'm not going to take your course, just do it for me. A cohort that I know some of you are already signed up for, which is really exciting, which starts on Monday. And it's going to 2 Mondays from now. And it's going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the following Monday, noon to 1. And you're going to knock this out, you know, this and a little bit of homework in the evening or on the weekend, and you're going to have your own brand bot. And then the video only course, which is going to be just do it at your own pace. And then, so the pricing for these is $997 for the do it for me, $397 for the cohort, and then $197 for the videos. And of course, it would not be any, I'm also going to include a bonus module, which is going to be kind of like come up as we do these first 3, what people would like to hear more of. And I want to teach them about imagery or other cool business related stuff, or even go deeper with some brand bot applications. But it wouldn't be a webinar without a discount. So I'm offering 20% off until midnight tonight, actually. And I'll be sending the link out, but also I'll include it here. So that means that the do it for me is $799. The cohort's $318, and the video course is $158. And so you can find all of these at projectfresh.com/brandbot, and they all have the discounts there until midnight tonight. So so that is that. My email is doug@projectfresh.com that you can email me at for any questions. And I would also be happy to do a revenue share if you bring in people. I would also definitely kick back to you. So you might even be able to get your course paid for if you bring in some friends or business colleagues or things like that. So on that note, I am so happy to see people stayed. So hopefully it was informative and valuable and entertaining. And I would love to open it up to questions. So Ed, right off the bat, I see you as being first, and then you can raise your hand by pressing the reactions button at the bottom, and then I'll let you, I'll make you next. So Ed, go ahead.
How does it know your posting schedule?
So that's all in the way I programmed the brand bot. So the instructions have a limited amount, which I found because this got so long the way I programmed the brand bot. The other two were really easy. As you could tell, it wasn't a lot. Brand bot, I actually hit the limit of the instructions, and I had to start breaking it off into file attachments with their own instructions. And so that's what I've uploaded the brand bot about, I don't know, 8 or so different files that all have different features in them, as well as something that I didn't even show today, which is a custom prompt repository. Well, I put about, I don't know, 500 of the most used business prompts in there already. So you don't have to find them elsewhere, but also you can get your favorites. And if there's ones that you use regularly, you can pull those up just by saying, hey, what are my custom prompts? And there they are. So you don't have to leave ChatGPT, which is pretty helpful. So sorry, that was a long way to answer your question and add a little bit more info.
And that brings up another really quick one. When you say you give it instructions, what does that mean?
Were you not at the beginning of the call?
I've missed the first 10 minutes.
Okay, you can watch the beginning, and you'll see a little bit, because it actually introduces why this is so important right now with custom GPTs and the announcement that this week OpenAI had about opening their app store. So I actually, this week, which I didn't do last week, I went in and I showed people a little bit more about instructions and how they're set up. So I'll send the link out. If anybody else missed the beginning, you can catch the first 15 minutes or so. Malte, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like it seems so important, like what questions you ask, and I think maybe you can say something about that. I feel like, I don't know, you just, the lead magnets, pain points, the sales page, the
Yeah,
automated drop container. There's so much stuff. I'm like, oh, that's good. Oh, I take notes.
right.
Like, but how do you, like, is there a way of even preparing that? You said like there's some mostly used business prompts or something.
Sure.
Like, maybe the background, I'm a creative, I'm a musician, composer, really trying to embrace the whole new business, marketing, communicative thought leader type of thing. So there's a lot for me to learn, a lot of, even as a non-native speaker, a lot of stuff I don't know. So how can, what would you, what how could
I get it. I get it. Hey, this is where we're at right now, is this learning, this landscape. Right now, you're looking at me. I've been deep in AI for the last 7 months, 8 months. When I started writing that book, I'm like, this is my direction. I never felt closer to my ikigai of learning this and teaching people and loving it. Like, it's super cool. Ikigai is a Japanese philosophy, by the way, concept of being, how you can intersect your what you're good at, what you love doing, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. So ikigai, if you're interested in looking at your life and thinking about it. Anyways, that was a tangent to say, great question, Malte. And so when I deal with my clients, I deal with a lot of AI clients. Like right now, I'm working on a lot of automations. I'm also helping a client wrangle 1,000 minutes of audio transcripts into a book. Rather than go from scratch, it's actually taking tons of content and structuring that. So I talk to a lot of my clients about the first things first is identify your needs. Like, where are the pain points and bottlenecks? What is it that you want to do? Where do you want to get? And then work backwards, right? So, and then letting curiosity guide you. So, okay, you want to do a new offering? Well, we went through a whole offering thing today. And letting our curiosity, this is the first tool that's as autodidactic to this level ever, where you can ask it like, hey, help me learn about this. Help me learn about improving my business in this, where everything's rapidly changing. So really, this is the first tool where we can also ask it about how to use it, right? So I can literally ask it, it's like, hey, I want to write a short story for my kid. What would be the best way to work with you, ChatGPT, to flesh that out? And then you can start to work backwards before you work forwards, right? So a little bit of curiosity. So
Yeah, I think, but that mindset, I think a lot of times I don't even know what to ask. Like I don't
right.
even get that idea. So that's so interesting because then you get the most out of it.
That's it. And that's what we're learning.
Uh,
They're saying the new programming language is language itself. All right. And so that, and now all those English majors where like parents were like, God, what are you going to do with your life? Suddenly they can clearly communicate and ask ChatGPT. They're going to be actually, they're going to get paid a lot more now. So I'm a relentless optimist too. But point being that, yes, the more clearly we can like define our problems and our needs and curiously continue to ask questions and think about what the next step would be. And that's also why I prompted in the follow-up prompts, because sometimes you're like, I don't even know what I would do next with this. And some of those, like you could see, were actually pretty useful. All right, guys. Well, I know it's 1 o'clock. I have another thing that I have to hop off for, but I will, if there's any final burning question, otherwise, email me, Doug@ProjectFresh. Like I say, I think this is incredible value. Even if you do the video course, which is now at the discount until midnight tonight, it's going to teach you so much about how to not just build a brand bot, which I realize is very valuable, but also how to build any of those bots. Like now you can go in there, you can build cooking bots, you can build bots to do things with your kids. You can do lots of things. So my point being, we're going to cover all of that and then also produce this very valuable thing. I would love to see you on there. So it's going to start on the 22nd and on Monday at noon. And thank you all so much. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out. If you want to jump into any of this stuff in more of a deep consulting way, I would be happy to share that with you and even give you my 20% webinar discount code for joining this too. Just mention it when you email me. And Barbara, I got to run. I see your hand. Actually, you know what? I got 1 more minute for Barbara. What do you got? Oh, I'm not hearing you, Barbara.
Quick question.
Got
I'm
it.
also creative. So if you have any books that follow that language that Malte was commenting on, like any books that you'd recommend we read regarding
No, I wouldn't recommend you read books. I'd recommend you get into ChatGPT and start learning in an autodidactic way. If you want to be, completely honest, get in there, start being like, hey, I want to learn more about this thing. How can you help me learn about it?
Gotcha.
And that's what I recommend, not going into a book and then trying to figure out how to interface. This is the tool that we're going to increasingly be interacting with in the future. And so now is the time to become bilingual, at least with us and AI. So that's what I would say, Barbara. I hope you took that well.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
good last words.
On that microphone drop. Actually, Barbara, don't actually drop your microphone, but she's got the one. Thanks everybody for joining and have a great rest of your day and an awesome weekend. Bye.
Thanks, Dougie. See you.
Bye.